Hello, welcome to Video Mania 2. I'm the man behind the counter, Duncan, and today we're going to talk about another 90s martial arts movie. Big surprise, I know. We're going to talk about Kickboxer 4, The Aggressor. It stars Sasha Mitchell as David Sloan, Camille Krifa, who takes over for Mohamed Kisi. He plays Tong Po this time. It also stars Michelle Mouse Krasnu, Brad Thornton, Jill Pierce, and from Friday the 13th Part 6 fame, Tom Matthews and Deborah Mancy. It was directed by Albert Pune, who made Cyborg, Mean Guns, Kickboxer 2. He had an interesting career. He made a lot of interesting genre movies. The Kickboxer took an interesting route to becoming a franchise. The first movie is iconic with Jean-Claude Van Damme. It was a martial arts classic, and it helped launch him into superstardom. But the early 90s, as Jean-Claude Van Damme and Steven Seagal were quite popular, there were a lot of straight-to-video martial arts movies at the rental store, so it was a great time to be a martial arts movie fan. You could walk into the rental store every week and find a new martial arts movie to rent. And so the Kickboxer name meant something, so they made some sequels to it. And in the storyline, Kurt and Eric Sloan were murdered by Tong Po after his loss in the original film. And there was a brother, David Sloan, who was the brother of Kurt and Eric, and after they were murdered, he was trying to open a gym in Los Angeles and just trying to make ends meet, and Tong Po sought him out to try to regain some semblance of honor if he defeated a family member of someone that dishonored him. That was his goal in Kickboxer 2, and he failed. David Sloan defeated him. And then Kickboxer 3 was its own adventure, so in Kickboxer 4, Tong Po returned. And this time David Sloan starts out, he's in prison. He opened a dojo with his wife, and Tong Po framed him. He's now a crime boss in Mexico, and he framed him, so he's in prison. And Tong Po sends him a letter saying, "I've kidnapped your wife, come get me," basically. And so the DEA agrees to release him to try to bring Tong Po down because they can't seem to get to him. So it's a win-win for everybody. He can bring down Tong Po and he can rescue his wife. He hopes she's still alive when he gets there. So the DEA releases him from prison, and he finds an underground fight scene and disposes of those guys pretty easily, and he gets invited to the tournament that Tong Po holds at his compound, and it's a big martial arts tournament with all the different styles coming together. And the winner takes on Tong Po for $1 million. That's the basic gist of it. And David Sloan dispenses of some guys pretty easily to get into the tournament, and he goes down to the California-Mexico border where he meets Megan, Michelle Krasnu's character. That's correct. And so she gets caught up in a bar fight and is taken out. She's feisty and she's determined, but she's in way over her head, but she wants to enter the tournament too. And David Sloan helps her in a bar fight and takes out the people picking on her, but she still wants to enter the tournament. She's kind of delusional here, but she doesn't really thank him that much, and she goes off to the tournament, and David Sloan goes to the tournament as well, and he has to fight again in the compound to really enter the tournament because Tong Po only wants the best. And David Sloan is using an alias because he wants to rescue his wife before Tong Po sees him, because if he sees him, it's over for him and his wife. So his goal is to just get into the tournament as a disguise to get his wife out of there. And so that's what he's doing, but he kind of becomes friends with Megan and tries to help her out a little bit, and they have to fight to get into the tournament. He puts her down easy. He just puts her in a sleeper hold, puts her out. But Tong Po has a liking to young girls, so he gives her a chance to get into the tournament again. So David Sloan kind of mentors her because she's small, and he wants to help her out as much as he can since she is determined to be in this tournament. And he also encounters a guy named Lando, who is a former student of his, played by Brad Thornton. And Brad Thornton, he tells Lando not to reveal who he is, and he agrees not to. So he does have an ally in the compound now, actually a couple of them. So he's still trying to get his wife out. He dresses kind of in a disguise in a ski mask to try to get her out, and he finds out where she is, but it's heavily fortified and secured, so he eventually gets caught and has to face Tong Po again. And so that's the basic gist of the plot here. And this is my favorite of the Kickboxer sequels. I didn't really honestly like the creative direction they took because, Van Damme was a superstar at this point, so they couldn't bring him back. But Tong Po murdering the brothers, wasn't my favorite route to make this happen, but I still enjoy the films nonetheless. David Sloan's a pretty cool character too. And Sasha Mitchell, Van Damme was very graceful and athletic, and Sasha Mitchell is much more closer to that Muay Thai style that this Kickboxer franchise is known for. Sasha Mitchell brings that, he does the Thai clinch and knees and lots of different things. And I really like the compound setting in Mexico. You see some different styles in the tournament, Clash, which is a martial arts staple, obviously. And they did a good job of keeping David Sloan out of Tong Po's sight. So they did a good job with that. And Camille Crefa plays Tong Po differently. Tong Po didn't speak much in the first two films. Very limited lines. But here you get to learn more about his character and how sadistic and evil he really is, because he is quite bad. He was bad enough in the other ones, but here you get to see how bad he really is. And David Sloan wants to face him and finish him off once and for all. But does it happen? You have to check it out. It's free to stream on Tubi and Plex and any of the free streaming services. I have this VHS copy, that I like to watch it that way if I'm watching a movie in my bedroom, and I have a digital copy on my Fandango at Home account if I'm watching in the living room. But it's a fun martial arts movie from that time, and I thought the Kickboxer sequels, while obviously not as good as the iconic original, were still quite fun, and the cast here is great. I thought Michelle Krasnu and Brad Thornton in particular were really good here. The Lando character adds a great wrinkle to this, and so does the Megan character. And there's a lot of pretty well-developed characters for this kind of movie. So there's a lot of good stuff here, and it is my favorite of the sequels. I thought the second one was pretty good. The third one's okay. The fourth one's my favorite, like I said. The fifth one stars Mark Dacascos and is more or less a spin-off in the franchise, and it's an interesting entry as well. But let me know in the comments, what did you think of it? What did you think of Sasha Mitchell's style, the martial arts that he brought to this? Let me know any of those things in the comments. Let me know what you think of it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Please like the video. YouTube has kind of changed the algorithm here, so the more you like it, the more views it'll help this channel. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.